All right, here's my privateer 141. So basically I've had the bike for 2 months now. So it's pretty much broken in, I think. Broken in and everything's pretty much set, and kind of figured out what's what and what I like, how to set it up. So let's see. Let's talk about as far as it rides stuff. It rides great. I like it. I'm still not quite used to the weight. It could be just me, just whatever conditioning I'm in, as far as like climbing goes. Descending, it's great. Climbing, I'm still not able to do the technical single track section that I usually go up without having to put a foot down. I always end up putting my foot down like about 3 times, at least 3 times, 3 to 5 times, every single time. Even when I feel good, I put it down 3 times. If I don't feel good, I put my foot down at least half a dozen times, if not more than that. But anyways, so I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure if because it's the extra weight, compared to my Itzo, my YT Itzo. When I'm feeling good on that bike, I'm able to climb up that technical single track without putting my foot down at all. So it could be because this bike is 3 pounds heavier. So it could be that. It's definitely not the tires, because these, basically I'm using the same tires as what it was on my Itzo. Actually, on the Itzo, on the rear, I had a 2.25. This one is a 2.6. So I don't think there's much of a difference there. I mean, obviously, besides the weight, this one weighs like a quarter pound heavier. So it weighs more by a Royale with cheese. But I don't think that's it though. I think the thing that makes it climb worse, not necessarily less efficient, even though this one has more travel, compared to this. So I think it's the gearing on here, because this is a 52 tooth, right? The big ring here is 52. The second biggest ring is 42. So the jump is too much, and for the weight of this bike, when I ride on a 42 on my technical climb, it feels like it's a little bit too tall of a gear. So I jump to a shorter gear, a lower gear, but this one is just too low. I spin out and I lose traction. Whereas when I had my YT, that one came, this is a GX Eagle. When I had my YT, it had a NX Eagle. So the NX Eagle, it's a 42 tooth and a 50. So the 50 will actually climb really well. I think the 50 tooth is like perfect. 52 is a little bit too low of a gear. But also on the YT, on the 42 tooth, I actually, compared to this one, 42 tooth, the YT still climbs a little better, a little bit more efficiently. And I think that's mainly that 3 pound difference, the weight. Now it could be the extra a 130 versus a 140 or 141 in this case. But actually, in my case, I think my bike is at 150, maybe 155, because I did take off the stroke spacer, because the factory stroke setup on this is 57 and a half, and there's 3 spacers in here. So I took off 2 of them. Each spacer is 2.5 millimeters. So basically I took off 5 millimeters of stroke. So I added 5 millimeters. So it went from 57.5 to 62.5. So basically 5 millimeters up here translates to probably at least 10 millimeters in the wheel travel, if not 15 millimeters, somewhere between 10 and 15 millimeters. So I think it's probably closer to 15 millimeters of travel. So in reality, my bike is not a 141 anymore. It's probably a 150-ish, or a 150, 155, somewhere in that range. So, but I don't think that's the problem with my climbing though. It's not that. I don't think it's that. I think it's the gearing. Mainly it's the gearing. That's what it feels like to me. That's because when I climb up technical, I feel like I'm never quite in the right gear. But again, the 42 here compared to the Itzo 42, the Itzo does climb better, and I think that's the weight. Again, this bike is 3 pounds heavier than the Itzo. So there's that. I think that's the biggest thing. So I'm definitely gonna change that gearing. I wouldn't even mind taking this cassette off and putting on a NX cassette, going back to a 50. even though it's supposed to be heavier and not as good, but I think it's, you know, gearing wise, I think it's better. Let's see what else with this bike. So yeah, so I took off the stroke spacers, I took off all the volume spacers. I changed the chain ring to an oval chain ring. Oval chain ring, still 32 tooth. So I'm a big fan of oval chain rings. It feels more natural to me. And obviously the Recon, the Maxxis Recon 2.6 front and rear. Maxxis 2.6 Recon. I guess right now I just added this little mud guard thing with Bob. I don't ride too much in the mud, and it doesn't rain too much here, you know, in California. But this will help keep the stanchions cleaner, so that will prolong the life of the seals, of the dust seals. Let's see what else did I do with this bike. I haven't crashed yet. I have fallen, but not crashed. That's the difference, right? Crashing is like you crash, whereas falling, you know, like for example, I've seems like every other ride I fall on this bike when I'm doing technical climbing and do a technical section. I'm like, oh goddamn, I can't quite get it up, and I lose momentum, and I'm trying to balance and trying to get up there, but I lose momentum and I lose my balance and I fall to the side. You know, I do a Joe Biden, more or less. So my seat post or my seat set, my saddle here got scratched up. A few scratches here and there on the frame. Let's see, what else did I do with this thing? I changed the handlebars. I have this fast flex. I think that's what they call them, fast flex handlebars. Yeah, fast flex handlebars. It worked great. I really like them. They especially the angle, the 12-degree sweep, that made a big difference in my wrist. Now my wrist, I have no more wrist pain. So that's good right there. It's worth, you know, this it's aluminum handlebar. It weighs twice as much as a regular aluminum handlebar, so it's pretty heavy, but it's totally worth it. And along with that, I had to change the stem because the clamp here on this handlebar is a 31/8. This bike came with a 35 stem and handlebar, so I had to change the stem. It's still 40 millimeters, so that's stay the same. And this rise is actually higher as well, I think. Or the rise of the stem, actually, the rise of the stem is higher, and maybe the handlebar rise is slightly higher as well. What else did I do with this thing? So I made some break-in adjustments, tightened up the headset a little bit, and there was a little flop, but I think that flop was actually from the stem, so I had to actually add a little spacer, this little silver spacer right there. Otherwise, there was a little slop in the bearing, in the headset. Other thing I had to do was the rotors. The rotor bolts here, they actually loosened up. The 6 bolts on both front and rear, so I had to tighten those down. All I did was tighten them down. I didn't like add Loctite or anything like that. I'm not even sure they come with Loctite in there. Usually, I think, if I could remember right, they usually do come with Loctite already on there, but I'm not sure if this one, when they built it, I'm not sure if they actually added Loctite. But usually when you like buy brake rotors, the bolts themselves already, you know, they already have Loctite on them. So there's that. And before I tightened up the headset and the rotors, man, the bike felt really weird. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's like, it felt really loose, and it's like, it felt really loose. Like, you know, almost like you had a flat tire almost. But now when I tighten everything up, all that stuff, and it rides really good again, rides solid again. Because it was like slowly, gradually feeling looser and looser. And I'm like, man, what the hell? Other thing is the derailleur hanger. There's the derailleur hanger here. I'm not sure you guys can see it, but anyways, right down in here, there's a little countersunk screw there that uses a 3 millimeter Allen. So that screw actually backed out. It loosened up and it backed out. So my derailleur hanger was a little bit. It wasn't in the solid. It was a little bit loose. So as I was using the thing, the gears got worse and worse. The shifting got worse and worse. I was like, what the hell's going on? Why is this GX Eagle shifting worse than the NX Eagle? I was like, what the heck? I was like, no, I didn't crash. I didn't bang up the derailleur, but I did. There are scratches here from, just from rocks and stuff, scraping up against rocks and such, from riding. But I'm like, what the hell's going on? And so anyways, I tightened that up, and now the shifting is really good again. So it's nice and crisp again. I was like, well, as before it was like kind of shifting, kind of like clunky and kind of, sort of, you know, a little off. It wasn't as fast and as crisp. So that's that. So yeah, so basically I did all the adjustments, you know, to whatever that loosened up. I don't recall adjusting the tension on the rear derailleur, the cable tension. I don't think I've done that on this yet. Maybe I have, but I don't recall. Doesn't seem like it needs it yet. So usually that settles in, all the cable housing, it settles in, and you need to take up some slack on the cable. So I don't recall taking up any more slack. So anyways, so that's my Privateer 141, 2 month in, and I really like this bike. It feels really good. It descends fantastic. Descending feels really good. Very solid. It's fast. Climbing, it doesn't climb as well as it does descend. So the descending is better than climbing. You know, on my YT XO, the climbing and descending is about equal. But this bike, it descends better than it climbs for sure. But then, you know, it is 3 pounds heavier, so that and the gearing. So once I change the gearing on here, the cassette, I think I'm gonna change the gearing on here, because the gearing, I don't like that gearing, that 52 tooth. It's just, it completely throws me off. I think it's too soft too, especially when you're in shape. If you're not in shape, the 52 is cool, but when, you know, now I'm in better shape, I feel like 52 is a little bit too low of a gear, whereas 42 feels like it's, especially when it's more steep or more technical, 42 feels like it's a little bit too tall. So somewhere in between would be better. Whereas on the YT, the 42 actually felt okay when I was in shape, and the 50, in technical stuff, the 50 felt okay too. It didn't really spin out too much. So so I think I'm gonna change the cassette to something that's not a 52. I'm probably gonna go with I might convert to a XT, because the spacing is the same. So so everything you could use could still be the same. All you use is change the cassette, change the cassette body, the hub body, whatever they call it, the chain. I think my front chain is okay with you know, because it's that wide narrow chain where, you know, each teeth is wide narrow for the linkage of the chain. So that should be okay for the Shimano as well. So I'm probably gonna do that. But otherwise, this is a fantastic bike. I really like it, really dig it. Rides good, gives me confidence. I think right now it's just my gearing. The gearing is off. All right, thanks for watching.